Hey, it's Birdman for Birdman on the Mountain Community Shout. Here we are hanging out, and this, of course, is sponsored by the town of Pinetop-Lakeside. Hanging out in the studio with Malaina Spillman from the town. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great here.
Good.
So the weather been phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, maybe a little warm.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we get to have some mugginess, which is abnormal.
Yes. And then we had that crazy storm last week that wreaked havoc
and
on
you guys
town.
had an emergency. You issued an emergency.
Yes.
Sort of like state of emergency kind of thing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But everything's okay now?
Yeah, I mean, we've got contractors that are out helping us just because of there's some road failures and drainage issues. And yeah, it was crazy.
Okay.
But it's all good.
So let's chat about the things that are going on with Park and Rec.
Yes.
Of course, you're still flying high, because of the Balloon Fest. Phenomenal event that was.
Oh my gosh, it was.
What's next?
So we have Pinetop-Lakeside Days, August 17th. From 1 to 6, and we'll be having chainsaw carving competition. Right now, I believe we have 5 chainsaw carvers that are mostly local.
Yeah.
And they'll be doing a creation of their own choice. They're given it's roughly 36-inch piece of wood that's 5 foot high and pine. They can carve whatever they want with.
There you go.
And then at the end of the carving competition, Summit Healthcare is the sponsor for Pinetop-Lakeside Days, and they'll be doing the judging. So after the judging, then we're going to have our auction.
Oh, cool.
So
awesome.
Each piece will get auctioned off, and the
yep.
artisan keeps the money, the proceeds from their piece.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Pinetop-Lakeside Days.
Yes.
I know it's only a one-day event like there, but we're going to encourage everybody, go out to eat,
Yes.
hang out in the restaurants the Friday before, and then Sunday, go have brunch somewhere.
Yeah.
So lots of places. Lion's Den's a good place to go for their build your own deal. So
Yes. Yeah.
Anyways, so Pinetop-Lakeside Days
Yes.
was a blast. The chainsaw stuff was really cool last year.
It was so fun.
It's
yeah.
good to see more of those.
Yeah. We'll have some retail vendors, food vendors, a bounce house. The fire departments are bringing one of their new bounce houses.
Oh, good.
The actual firehouse
Is it a
with
firehouse? Nice.
I believe the ladder truck is the slide.
Okay.
And then we'll have a dunk tank so you can come and
Yeah,
dunk
I'm
some
going to
local
be
celebrities.
getting dunked in the dunk tank. That's right. I forgot about that. Kind of went up, but it's a new dunk tank or a newer one, so
Yeah.
it's not that.
Yes.
That last one was a little scary.
It was a little shallow.
Okay, well, it was that and lots of sharp metal pieces.
Yeah, there wasn't there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, then after that.
Well, right after our Pinetop-Lakeside Days event, we have Movies in the Park.
Okay.
So, and it'll be The Incredibles 2.
Nice.
It
Good.
is a free event for everything. Pinetop-Lakeside Days, the entire thing, Movies in the Park, it's all free. There will be concessions available. The Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee is doing concessions at the Movies in the Park. So you can come, bring some cash, get some snacks and watch the movie, and then we'll have food vendors and stuff too. So bring some money for food vendors.
Cool.
And the equipment rodeo. I almost forgot about the equipment rodeo.
Yeah, the kids love that.
So,
I got my
yes.
my 2-year-old. Well, this is his year. He knows the names of all of them and everything. So
We even got some new pieces for the little kids to sit on and do it themselves. So
gonna be on.
it'll be so fun.
Cool.
And then right after, well, not right after, but
Little bit
pretty
of pause
much.
and move through.
Fall Festival.
Yep, Fall Festival's coming up. So
And as a reminder for everybody, it is always the last full weekend in September. So mark it on your calendars every year. It's a fun weekend.
So pretty sure we'll be doing the parade live.
Yes.
So and multiple cameras this year. Kind of a cool new setup.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna be
we're
awesome.
gonna have to probably get you and somebody else because I think I'll be producing it instead of being a host. So maybe we'll get you and somebody else to be the hosts. And
Sounds
set you up
fabulous.
to announce the parade and let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous.
Cool.
So right before the parade, we have our Cool Running, which is our 10K competitive race and 2-mile fun run walk. I'm working on the registration for that right now. So as soon as you guys see this video, registration will be up and going on our website. And then we also have the parade. Registration is open. This year's theme is Great American Heroes.
Cool.
And the parade kicks off at 10 a.m. So
Awesome.
yeah, should be a fun, awesome weekend. And of course, got the car show. And
Good stuff. So once again, it's Malaina Spillman with the town of Pinetop-Lakeside. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Birdman here, still hanging out in the studio with me now. I've got Mr. Kirk Webb with Timber Mesa Fire and Medical District. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Yourself?
Good. So I think we made it through summer. No fire restrictions. Lots of fun. We had a little mini fire that turned into. They said we're going to just monitor it and let it burn off the stuff.
Yeah, and of course I kind of not personally got chewed out, but I heard through the grapevine. I was like, no, this is a fire, which is true.
Yeah.
It really is a lightning strike fire, but they used it to manage some resources that needed to be taken care of. So in an area that.
Well, it was funny because I think what happened is people jump on social media, the unofficial reporters, and said it's a prescribed burn, which, by the way, doesn't exist. They don't call them prescribed burns. There was no prescription, and so what they did was basically maintain it and let it do what nature does.
Right, and that's one of the things with a naturally caused fire, they can actually do that and get the benefit out of it. And plus, since we had a little bit of moisture, it never really got big or moved fast, and so it did what Mother Nature intends.
Good, cool,
and got a good outcome out of it, and so it was a good thing. Created a bunch of smoke, but honestly.
Yeah, not that big a deal.
Right. It wasn't as bad as what, like the cedar fire or
there was that
fire,
anxiety wasn't
nothing like that. The smoke and ember cast and all that. So
okay, so we had that. We had we normally wait for monsoons to end fire season. I think we're still waiting kind of for monsoons because we've gotten
they're
humid.
kind of hit and miss. And in fact, what was it last week that they got just hammered up here in Pinetop-Lakeside? And I mean, what was it? 4.8 inches in 45 minutes. It just flat dumped, and rivers flowing all over the place, and debris, and in fact, I even think they called it declared a state of emergency.
State of emergency for the area. We just talked about that with Malaina. So.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting thing, but honestly, look at all the rest of the time, the days, we haven't really had that much moisture. It's hit and miss. It's not so. Right. It's definitely an interesting year as far as weather goes, but we're doing good.
Good. So let's talk about outreach. We'll probably have you come in a little bit later in the year here and talk about chimneys and stuff like that. We're not just there yet.
Although I do see some smoke coming out of chimneys, and I think it's because our friends from the valley where it's like 110.
That's right. It gets down to 60. They think it's cold. I don't know what the deal is.
That's okay. I mean, that's good. Let them have their fire in there, but and if they're cleaning up their yard debris to do that, awesome, even better.
Good job. Okay. But you got some events coming up.
Yeah. Well, and school is in session. And so it's always a good reminder to tell people to look out for those buses.
Yep.
Just because we have a 5-lane highway, and what's the posted speed limit? 35 or maybe 45.
35 in Pinetop-Lakeside. It's 45 through the rest of the area. Yeah.
And then back to 35 in Sholo, and
it's not a divided highway, and it's important to understand. If there's a division, so it's got to be grass barrier or an upper barrier or
islands,
islands, something. We don't have that anywhere up here. Okay. The yellow section is not dividing it. Okay.
No.
That's an open. You have to stop for school bus.
Yeah. So if those lights start flashing, slow down. The red lights come on. You better stop. And because our law enforcement guys, they're gonna ticket people.
Yeah.
And and it's all for the safety of not only our children in the community, but the people themselves.
Right.
I mean, we don't want to see anybody getting injured or killed.
Yeah. So, and watch out for kids that are new to the area. They change grades. There's been a whole lot of change of where people go and everything. Just be careful around the schools, the kids. And by the way, some of these schools have like posted areas that are 15 miles per hour that are in the front of the school, and then you drive in a bunch of areas. You still got to go slow in those areas. You can't go from 15 to 35. 15. Yeah, and actually you should be doing about 8 or 5 because that's really where the kids are going to be walking around. So, anyways.
And just for everybody's safety, just be careful. Take your time.
Cool. So you guys are going to be out for Pinetop-Lakeside Days, showing off some stuff, but that's Pinetop-Lakeside.
Right. In fact,
Pinetop Fire, sorry.
Tonight is actually National Night Out.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, that was past that, but yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. But Yeah, Pinetop-Lakeside Day is coming up, and we're going to be there. We'll set up an obstacle course as long as I got some people to help me out, because not only do I do the fire department stuff, I'm actually president of the Pinetop-Lakeside Historical Society.
Nice.
And that's the same day that we're doing a fundraiser. It's a milk can dinner.
Oh, cool.
And so we actually, Joyce Cox and her family helps us out. They're our chefs for the day. And we actually take the old style milk cans and stuff it full of potatoes and sausage and Taylor sweet corn.
Nice.
And onions, and I don't even remember what all is in there, but it turns out awesome. It ends up cooking in this can for like 45 minutes, and then we dump it into this kind of like a big trough. It's actually
Sounds like a low country broil, only it's a high country mountain.
That's
broil.
right. It's our mountain stuff.
That's awesome.
And no Rocky Mountain oysters though. None of that. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Not going there.
We'll pass on that. Anyways, okay, cool. And then the other thing we want to talk about is we've got a ride coming up.
Yeah, the Darren Reed Memorial Ride. And and honestly, with this kind of weather we have, there's a lot of motorcyclists out there, and not only do they need to be cautious and watch out for other people, but the rest of us that are driving in vehicles, pay attention. I mean, as I'm driving down the road, and occasionally I do get a go code 3 with my lights and sirens, and I noticed as I'm coming up behind people, it takes them a long time before they actually notice that somebody with emergency lights requesting the right to get past them. So I wonder how many people actually look in the rearview mirrors, and pay attention to what's come up behind them. So not only in front and to the sides, so be cognizant of everybody that's out on the road: emergency vehicles, motorcyclists, bicyclists, pedestrians. I'm seeing all in the news all over. Pedestrians getting hit. I saw recently where somebody in a wheelchair in Tucson, I believe, got hit.
Oh, geez.
Just and these things don't need to happen.
Yeah, just relax, take your time. Remember, it's state law now. You cannot be driving with a phone in your hand. That means you can't be talking into it, you can't be texting, you can't have it in your hand. So if it's in your hand and you're driving around, that's illegal. No fines on it until January 1, but they basically give you a little buffer, but they can still stop you. And keep in mind, if you're doing a couple other things and you're holding that phone in your hand, that's a reckless operation.
Yeah, it's
which is a pretty big ticket, by the way.
Yeah. In fact, I believe the statistics show that texting and driving is worse than driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
Cool.
So crazy stuff.
Awesome. Anything else?
No, things are moving right along, and one of our battalion chiefs is retiring after, I think, close to 40 years of service or more. Things like that, yeah. Just some, it gives an opportunity for guys to move up in the ranks, and so
be aware, stay aware, and be safe. Thanks again, once again, with Kirk Webb from Timber Mesa Fire and Medical District.
Thank you.
Hey, still hanging out in the studio with me now, I've got Nicole Peters. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. Now, you're with Meadowlark Farms.
Yes.
We met the other day and we were talking about it, and I've known you for quite some time because of community events and things like that.
Right.
You were in Pinedale, and you did that big Pinedale...
The Dutch Oven Festival.
Dutch Oven Festival, that's what it was.
Chuck Wagon Festival, they call it now.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, really cool. But you are quite the green thumb, I would say. Yes?
Yes.
So was hanging out at Buffalo Bill's and had a great salad, and it was all your greens. And I'm not a big salad fan because typically there's no real taste to me or anything. And I got to say that, and we got some of our greens, by the way. I'm loving that, and I'm eating salads because of you.
Good.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
I should have it. It's good, right?
Right. Yes, it's good for all of us.
So you've done a class before. You've got a class. Why don't you tell us about it and what it is?
Okay, so the class is a hands-on class to teach people how to start their own seeds for their own gardens. We usually spend lots of money buying our plants at the nurseries, and sometimes, fail rates make you have to go back again and buy more, and so
there's a success rate.
Oh,
because
yes.
all mine has been all fail rate.
Right.
Just so you know.
Yes. So we're gonna have half-size trays that are about the same size as this one, and then a full-size tray which is 72.
Oh, okay.
And just the feedback from one of my students at my spring class was like, I had like 25 plants survive. And I'm like, hey, that's better than none, right? She laughed. She's like, okay. And so I shared with her, you know, that's part of the principle with gardening is you know, grow in abundance so that most of it will survive, or at least part of it.
Cool.
So anyway, so the class is how to start your own seeds. And I have a whole array of seeds to choose from. Anything from cabbage to lettuce to carrots, all kinds of stuff. And then we talk about which kinds of seeds are best to start, when to start them for the success of the plant with our short season. So we go into all the details about where we live, our zone according to the USDA, all that kind of stuff, so that people have a better idea of just kind of the broad scale of information they need to be successful gardeners.
Cool. Now, so I get a little sort of a teaser before this, and we actually sat down and talked. So it's not the creation of it or all the stuff in the house that you do, because that's always, we'd buy the starters, or we get seeds or whatever, everything's good and it's all inside, and you go to put them outside and they die.
They die, right. So
there's something that happens.
Yes, there's a process called hardening that you have to go through in order for your plants to be strong enough to withstand the elements. Yeah, if you take them outside, I told you, like, you know, the very first gardening experience you do in the spring, everybody's excited to get out and you get sunburnt within an hour or two. The sun is super intense, and if your plants aren't used to being in sunlight, especially if they've been raised under a light, they're just not strong enough to handle it. So you have a very incremental process, and I lay that out in the class, and then actually send home a pamphlet kind of thing on all of the little pieces of information you don't want to forget, in order to get your plants ready to go outside.
And the funny thing is after you stated it and talked about it, it kind of like made sense. It's like, well, you don't just like decide one day, hey, I'm going to ride a bike and jump on the bike.
Yes.
You have to go through the process of falling down a couple times and get it. Same thing with like physical therapy or any of it.
Everything
is like
incremental.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
very
So it
important.
kind of makes sense.
That's one of the biggest parts. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I can start seeds, but I don't understand why they die every time I put them out. So that's really the main piece of the class that is, you know, pretty much the most new information for most people.
Okay, so
you're
we covered
not the only one.
We covered the who and what. It's you with Meadowlark Farms. It's
Yes.
learning how to do seeds.
Yes.
Let's talk about when, where.
It's September 7th.
Okay.
From 9:30 in the morning till 11. And it's at Buffalo Bill's Tavern and Grill, and we're going to do it outside on the deck this time.
Okay.
So it should be really beautiful and a fun outdoor class.
And there's our cost to it.
Yes. So
Okay.
it's $20 to start a 32 cell tray.
Okay.
And
Does that include the tray and the seeds and
the
everything?
tray, the seeds,
Okay.
and the soil? And then it's $40 for the larger tray.
Okay.
And if you want to just come to observe the class, it's $10.
Yeah, because it's knowledge, and that's important, and there's a
Right.
value to that.
Right, yeah. And the feedback was really wonderful last time. So I just decided, you know what, let's do a fall class. If you can't be up here in the spring, for a lot of people, they don't come till later in the summer.
Right.
And I don't travel yet for my classes, so I figured I'd do a fall class. And people can take this information also to Tucson and the Valley and have their fall garden going into winter.
Okay, that was silly me going, well, it's fall. Why are we growing seeds? I don't understand. Do we grow them all winter, or what do we do? Yeah.
Most things can, well, no, let me rephrase that. Some things can be grown at different times of the year.
Okay.
So we all kind of have in our minds, like tomatoes and peppers grow in the summer, and that's what we have in our summer gardens. But then when it comes to fall and winter, that's the best time to grow greens, like I was sharing with you and Allison, that they have a special process they go through every time they freeze, where they actually get sweeter and more delicious. So we'll
Who knew? Freezing your greens, make them sweet. Yay!
So we go through we're going to go through that process in the class, teaching you when to harvest in the winter, because you can't harvest it when everything's frozen. Because the amazing part is that all the plants still freeze at night. Even in my our cold frame greenhouse, it's not heated. Everything freezes, and if you were to pull it back, it's still standing, but it looks frozen, and you're kind of like freaking out, like, what? This doesn't look right. And then by the next morning, when the sun comes out and everything gets warm, it thaws back out again, and then you can cut it. And
It's crazy.
I know, it's pretty interesting.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I always wondered. So there you go.
There you go.
Awesome. Anything else that we need to know?
Yeah, I'm also going to make these kits available, which we put together this last year. I guess turn it this way. And
Help ya.
it's a fabric, a gardening fabric.
Ooh.
And it comes with instructions on how to use it over your delicious greens. And when to put it on, when to take it off, all that kind of the details, and it comes with the clips. And the fabric protects the plants up to 10 degrees.
Oh,
and
wow.
if you double it over, then you're up to 15, 20 degrees protection.
Very cool.
So it keeps everything much happier. And then, you know, you will have some frost damage through the winter, but, you know, you can't be too picky because
Right.
you're at least gardening through the winter. And you don't have to necessarily have a greenhouse for all of these things we're talking about. The hardier greens like kale, you don't even need a greenhouse to grow.
Awesome.
This actually just protects it by enough.
I'm not the biggest fan of kale.
Well, by the time we're done with you, you'll like kale.
Okay.
Because we grow really good kale. And then it comes with the wire.
Oh,
and
cool.
that actually creates a little system.
Little hoop kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah. Okay.
right. So that's going to be available at the class, and I have varying sizes of these kits. And then if you're just interested in the fabric, I'll be able to cut the fabric for $2 a foot. And
Very
you
good.
can just take it home and give it a try and see what you think. Hold it down with some rocks.
Awesome stuff. Nicole Peters
Thank
with
you.
Meadowlark Farms. Thank you very much. Hey, it's Birdman. That's going to be it for this week's Community Shout. Hanging out here in the studio all the time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So if you want to shout out what's going on, come on in, sit over there, and you can do it. It's free, no charge at all. Make sure you're checking out everything on WMI TV and Cholo TV as well. And all of those out there listening, thanks for listening. If you have any comments, just post them up. We'll get back to you eventually. I'm Birdman reminding you, if I don't see you around town, I'll catch you right here on the web.